So I'm looking at you or I'm looking at camera? Okay, cool. I moved here a year ago, a little more than a year ago. I moved for work. So before I worked for the headquarters of our organization, which is in Hungary. I used to direct the camps that we ran for kids who were coming from abroad. So we have been serving Czech kids, Slovak kids and Polish kids for more than a decade now in Hungary, and I worked on those camps, and we decided that we want to expand in the Czech Republic because we wanted to make sure that we can reach as many kids as possible. So I moved here a year ago, and I'm kind of overseeing the programming that we are doing here. Throughout university I was volunteering for a different organization that worked with underprivileged children in Hungary, and I actually went to film school originally, so I worked as a videographer then. And while I was working with these kids, I kind of realized that I just find a lot more joy in working with children, and I just decided to kind of refocus my life. And this organization that I work for is one of the largest organizations in Hungary, so getting to work with them was like my dream coming true, and then that kind of allowed me to move to Prague, and that just has been an incredible adventure itself. Well, we usually say that we change lives by offering kids a possibility to make the kind of childhood memories that we believe every child should have. Kids who are fighting chronic illnesses generally don't get to take part in a lot of summer programming because they are at high risk because of their disease. And going through such an illness can have very negative effects on a child's psychological, social, emotional development, because they are losing control over their lives due to the treatment or due to the condition itself, and they spend prolonged periods of time in the hospital. They need some extra support to gain or regain some of the confidence that they are losing because of the disease, to regain some of their social skills that are not developed because they are isolated from their peers. So we do believe, and we have the scientific studies to support that statement, that it can actually be life-changing for children like ours to regain these abilities and have just a more positive outlook of their future. And because the year that I moved here was the year of COVID, we had to make a lot of changes in our programming. Our camps had to be cancelled, and instead of the offline camps that we were supposed to run, we are running virtual camps, and that's just a form of programming that's super exciting right now, because we can actually work with kids who are fighting such severe illnesses that they wouldn't be able to come to our camp anyway. So it allowed us to expand our mission and reach kids with very severe conditions, and that's just really awesome. Well, in a sense, in every way imaginable. So it's different because the kids are actually at home and we are sending them a box of camp materials, and for the entire week we are running the programs as if we were in camp, except that everybody joins over Zoom, and our volunteers are working with the kids, leading activities, leading dances and singing campfire songs and having a talent show. All that stuff that you would expect in a regular camp, we are doing on Zoom. So in that sense it's very similar, I guess, but of course it's much harder to get into the camp spirit because we are on Zoom, and I think by this time everybody knows Zoom fatigue, and that can be very challenging for camp professionals right now to work with kids who are spending their entire day in school also on Zoom or using Google Hangouts or whatever, and then in the afternoon they are joining for 2 hours of arts and crafts or something, and that can be very challenging, but it's a very good kind of challenge. So here in the Czech Republic our virtual camps are open to kids from the age of 7 to 17, mainly because under the age of 7 the digital skills that are required to participate are usually not there. So normally, or before COVID, our camps included kids from different countries, and them having to figure out a way to interact with each other and teaching each other some basics of their own language, or using some other ways of communicating to like make connections. I think that's a skill that is actually very important, or it's gonna become very important later in their lives, because intercultural abilities or competencies are just very highly sought after in the workplace or in the in employment in general. And I think what is happening in these international camps is that kids unknowingly or unintentionally are kind of creating these competencies for themselves, because if you want to play a game of football, you have to figure out a way to like keep score, or to like invite somebody to play with you, and they do that. Of course we help it along. So in our international camps we have interpreters who are helping the kids when they have to talk about something important, but a lot of the time the kids figure it out themselves. It's when we are actually working with, when the kids are in camp or when they are joining our virtual camps, it's very easy to not focus on their illness, because our entire program is designed so they can have some non-illness related fun and to take part in or create some experiences or memories that have nothing to do with their illness. And because they get into the camp vibe so quickly, I also get into the camp vibe very quickly, and that's very important because, as I mentioned, these kids lots of times are thought of as the patient or as the child with the illness, even among their peers. And in camp they can actually develop an identity or a self-image of the kid who is really good at riddles, or who is amazing at arts, or who is just great at archery. And because they have that self-image, the volunteers and the leadership also has that same image of them. I think it's just really amazing to be part of something that is so important and just so objectively like good for society as a whole, I believe. It's very, very privileged to be a witness to all the amazing things that the kids do. It's very, very inspiring week after week to see kids who are going through some unimaginably difficult times and how well they actually cope with that. And like, as a healthy person, it is a very good reminder of like how much like strength there is in people who are maybe generally thought of as people who need help, but these kids, at least when they are joining our camps, they are not thought of as the patient, they are thought of as the kid who is doing amazing things, who is learning new things, who is making friends, and that's just super impressive to me. Yes, great question. It's completely free for all the participants and the volunteers as well, of course. We run a training for every volunteer who wants to join, and we send all the materials that are needed for the virtual programs to the houses of the volunteers and the kids, and that applies to our actual offline camps as well. They are completely free for everyone. Yeah, so actually right now we are running a volunteer recruitment campaign. We want to recruit all the volunteers who will work in our virtual camps until the end of August. So basically it's a very simple application process. You just have to fill out a form, tell us which camp out of the 6 that we have planned you are available for, and then there is a short interview where we get to know you a little better, and then there is a short training on Zoom, and then afterwards it's just camp awesomeness. So yeah, and you can find all the information on our Facebook page, which is Bátor Tábor Czech Republic, or on our web page, which is batortabor.cz, and yeah, you can just get in touch with me personally. My email will be in the description of the video. Will it be? I don't know, I just said that, haven't I? So after a volunteer turns in an application, we get in touch with them to set up an interview, And this interview is mainly about us learning a bit about the volunteer themselves and giving them a chance to ask a few questions towards us. After that, there is a training which is from Friday afternoon or Friday evening until Sunday afternoon, and it's all on Zoom, so you can just join from your bed at home. And in this training we cover a wide range of topics, from how to do the therapeutic part of our work, to how to manage challenging behaviors in camp, how to run certain programs. We teach the volunteers a little bit about the medical conditions of the campers as well, so they have some ideas of what the kids are going through. But in general, I think it's very easy to go through that training, and it's very fun. We play a lot of games. Yeah, so the parent has to apply for legal reasons, for safety reasons. There is a part of the application process for campers where we ask a few questions about their medical conditions, just to gather information that will be pertinent to running a good program for them. But there is a part of the application that the child has to fill out, where they have to tell us about themselves, what kind of music they are into, what their friends say about them. So we also want to learn a bit about the campers before they come to camp. And of course there is like waivers that the parents have to sign, so it's very important that it's always the parent who fills it out. Okay, so I really hope that I will see all of you in camp.
Great.
Thank you so much, guys.